Tasmai Gurave Namaha, reading from the book Samanda, chanting in a devotional relationship, bound together in a relationship. After Yojana, the next practice represents the most important element in my view, chanting with a sense of relationship. If you learn how to do this, there will be a vast improvement in your chanting. The Sanskrit word Samanda indicates relationship, but literally it means bound together, some, together, banda, bound. Sambandha is that understanding which binds you to Krishna. It is an inner orientation for chanting the holy name that brings you into the presence of the Lord. Sambandha begins with the general sense that I am part of Krishna. Later, when you chant the holy name free of offenses, your relationship with Krishna becomes clearer. At the last stage, the holy name reveals your unique spiritual identity, including your spiritual body, character, traits, and the particular service you have for Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada writes in his connection, by the practice of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting, the impure heart of a conditioned soul is purified, and thus he can understand his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That eternal relationship is described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jivara Swarupahaya Krishnera Nityadasa. The living entity is an eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one is convinced about its relationship, which is called Sambandha, he then acts accordingly, as sharing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, chapter 7, 142. The greatest problem of material life is that we forget that we have a completely different identity to the one we have temporarily assumed right now. Our true identity is covered as we become bound by the Maya illusions. When the self is lost, all is lost. The purpose of any yoga system, particularly Bhakti Yoga, must therefore be to again connect the disconnected soul to the Lord. In a well-known analogy, this means that spark returns to the fire where it can sparkle and dance again. Chain around the neck. Srila Prabhupada describes how we are bound by the Maya in the material world. It is a fact that every living entity is eternally a servant of Krishna. That is forgotten due to the influence of Maya, which induces one to believe in material happiness. Being illusioned by Maya, one thinks the material happiness is the only desirable object. This material consciousness is like a chain around the neck of the conditioned soul. As long as he is bound to as long as he is bound to that conception, he cannot get out of Maya clutches. However, if by Krishna's mercy he gets in touch with a bona fide spiritual master, abides by his order, and serves him, engaging other conditioned souls in the Lord's service, he then attains liberation and Lord Sri Krishna's shelter. Taken from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. We conditioned souls can be released from the Maya's tight bond around our necks only by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Only when that chain is broken are we free to enter a loving sambandha with Krishna. Here is an antidote, that expresses this beautifully. There was a circus in India that burned to the ground. All the animals escaped the exception of one elephant. The tigers broke free, the monkeys scurried away. Every animal managed to find freedom in spite of being behind prison bars. All except for this one robust elephant. Much to everyone's surprise, it was discovered later that that elephant was tied to a pole with nothing more than a thin, flimsy rope. The elephant was stronger than all the other animals. His obstacle to freedom, a flimsy rope. How could it be? A deeper study brought to light that when this elephant was young, it had been captured from the jungle and tied with an iron chain to a tree. For 1 week, the calf tried to escape. It pulled on the chain until its leg was covered with blood and pus. The wound got infected and flies feasted. The young elephant continued trying frantically to break the chain, but finally surrendered to its fate and stopped pulling. From that time onwards, his guards removed the chain and replaced it with a flimsy rope. The elephant never tried to escape. They then sold him to circus. What was going on? The elephant always remembered how it was bound when it was young and could not escape. The arrangement still existed in his mind even after being physically removed. For the elephant, the chain forever bonded him to the sentiment. I can't change my fate. Each of us also is bound by an iron chain in our minds. It is covered with the rust of impressions and desires, hardened over many lifetimes. You cannot see it with these eyes, though you can know its presence by behaviors stemming from your conditioned nature. The chain keeps us under indenture. We are tightly tied to our present condition, to our present identity, and to the material world. Every time we feel impelled to advance spiritually, it tugs at us doing its best to halt our progress. Worse still, our problems deepen because the chain feels like a part of us. We are so accustomed to being in Maya that we have never known anything else. Who would you be without the chain? It's frightening to glimpse into the unknown. Can we break free from this chain? Virtually impossible. The chain is far stronger than any actual iron chain. We can escape a physical chain if we crack it with heavy tongs. But in this world, there are no tongs to destroy the chain in the mind. Freed by Krishna. But there is hope. Krishna lives in the inner mind, which is called
I
Cheta.
think so we can stop, bro.
Okay, Prabhu. Again, as we see here, uh, we in the current material world are lost in the in the Maya, and we totally lost the devotion. The only way to come back is to chant the Maha Mantra and also to be closer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We should also make sure that we chant in a very proper way so that we are free from offenses. As you all read earlier, even which Prabhupada is already again mentioning, how do we start with the devotional service is by hearing and then chanting, where we go from a impure state to a pure state, and we can understand the relationship to the Supreme Person of Godhead. It was again described in the said Chaitanya Charitamrita, as we seen again by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Despite of we being known about this, we are still covered with the illusion of Maya, and sometimes we forget, and which is where we get lost. The best way is to practice Bhakti Yoga, practice Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and be closer to the Lord. As we see an example which is mentioned here, the elephant, we should think like ourselves an elephant, and an iron chain is still nothing but all the illusions and all the issues that we see in the current material world. We should come out of it, we should chant the Maha Mantra. Yes, we are like elephant, but again, we are tied to the chain, which is very flimsy, and we still cannot come out of it. However, we should determine to come out of it and then start chanting the Maha Mantra, get closer to the Supreme Path of Godhead. Is it still, the question comes, is it still possible? Yes, it is still possible, and we can do it with the Bhakti Yoga.